Boasting natural wealth, economic stability, and the professional quality of its people, Costa Rica is the ideal country to do business. This is the place where our business park is located, AFZ. More than 20 companies related to the technology and shared service industries have trust AFZ, generating employment for about 10,000 people, value chains, and contributing to the growth of our country. With a history of over 2 decades in the real estate market, our business park guarantees the best experience for clients and employees. Our 91-acre property has the potential to expand our development to triple its size. We use cutting-edge technology that ensures the continuity of operations and an offer of flexible spaces that can be customized to suit every need. Our customers and visitors can enjoy an array of amenities that have been carefully designed to create a convivial environment that contributes to retaining talent and maximizing the time and resources of those who are part of our business park. Aiming towards a sustainable future, we make sure that the development of our activity goes along triple impact actions at the economic, social, and environmental levels. These advantages have awarded us prizes and certifications that recognize our efforts. It's time to keep growing. Let's do it together. We are AFC.
Yes, we are. We welcome our guests to this webinar, Business Opportunities for a Post-Pandemic World. My name is Melissa Carvajal, Social Responsibility Manager at AFZ, and I'm honored to join you today. For those of you that are learning about us for the first time, AFC is a business center located in Heredia, Costa Rica, with more than 20 years of experience in the local real estate market. We currently have more than 20 clients of the technology and services sector, which provide global quality services and employ more than 10,000 people, contributing significantly with the progress of our country and our region. Today, we're here to talk about the challenges and opportunities that the pandemic has represented for the real estate sector. At the beginning of 2020, when the virus began to have a global reach and we implemented work from home, we couldn't imagine being almost at the start of 2022 under a context that continues to have COVID-19 as the center of business. In this scenario, we will discuss the new work models, the experiences that employees expect in the future, and how can we adapt our business strategies to the new reality. What should we do then to benefit from the opportunities in an ever-changing world? Let me introduce you to our speaker, Francisco Vasquez Medem, architect, founder, and current president of 3G Smart Group, a multinational consulting, engineering, and corporate architecture services company who joins us today from Spain. Mr. Vasquez has more than 30 years of experience as an architect, and along with his team, they focus on the design and management of their clients' corporate spaces. As one of our partners, we're very happy to welcome you to this webinar, Mr. Vasquez. And before proceeding with the activity and giving the word to our guest, I would like to encourage of viewers to interact and leave us your comments and questions. And at the end of the presentation, we will have a section to address them. Without further ado, let's continue with business opportunities for a post-pandemic world. Don Francisco, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Melissa. It's a pleasure to be here with you. As you said, I am in Madrid now, although we have offices in all Latin America, including Costa Rica, which I love the country, and we have also have the pleasure to collaborate with AFC in your business park, no? And we have a very close relation. So thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure. I love, as you said, I've been 30 years working as an architect in the corporate spaces. So for me, it's a pleasure to talk about this because I love my profession and I love talking about these issues. No, so I'm going to share my presentation that we have to support my words. That's here. It is okay. As you said, the pandemic really has impact a lot. Let me try to close this. Well, I'll try to do like this. 1 minute. So I'm trying to find out my. Okay, well, I'll leave it like this. Well, the pandemic have really shaken ourselves. No, we have a lot of time during this lockdown. We have been at our houses in all the countries there globally, in all Europe and Latin America, no, and all the world. We have been in this lockdown, working from home, and really have most of us think about our lives, think about what we're doing. Also, not only ourselves, also all the people around us. We have been shocked by the pandemic, and really a lot of reflections of how was our lives before the pandemic, and how these new opportunities can really change. Also about the collectivity, no, about the community, and all the. I need to close this. Sorry, 1 minute, because I need to close this. I'm trying to close one thing. Wait a minute, please. I'm going to try to close thing here, now, and now. Thank you. Okay. Yes. So really, the pandemic has been a terrible impact. Has a terrible impact, of course, in healthy, but also in the. It has been like a stop in our day-to-day lives, and a time and a place to rethink about this, how have been our lives in the last years, in all globally, and our own companies, people, society, and all. One of the important things that happened is that we have, because most of the technology that we used during the pandemic, which was mainly these Teams or Zoom or cloud, was already there. Really, the digital transformation was pending in most of the cases, in most of the companies. The technology was there, but there is no transformation if people not embrace the technology. During this lockdown, we had to embrace the technology. We have the only way to be connected with our companies, with our partners, with our families, was through the technology. Imagine this pandemic without the technology that we have in these days. So this is very important, because all digital transformation, which all the technology was in place since 10 years, more or less, 10, 12 years. What was stopping this transformation, digital transformation, was really this, that people were afraid, they didn't manage properly the technology. So this pandemic, this lockdown has helped us to really embrace the technology. And also we have realized something that was already there, that really work in most of the cases, of course, industrial work or other type of work, no, but most of the service works, office works, is an activity and not a place. The technology were make us possible to really work from anywhere and from any time. And it was, that's, as I said, was before the pandemic, was already there. but probably most of the people have not experimented enough. So during the pandemic, we have experimented ourselves. As I said before, we have seen that we can solve and we can do many, many things remote through a simple computer or even a mobile. And also companies have realized that people have been still working. Companies have been still open, selling, operating, and everybody was at home. Even area centers where we think that has to be always presential. So this has really changed and also put in place things that in the past were already there, and now nobody doubts that work is an activity, and not a place. Also, this shape, this impact, this terrible situation that we have already lived during the pandemic, and in some countries we're still living, has made a context of change. We have had in the last 18 months, 20 months, so many changes on our lives that we are really open to change. Now it's more easy than in the past to promote or to suggest a change in an organization, because it's so big, so terrible what had happened that really organizations, even governments, or even society, or the society are open for these type of changes. And also, as I said before, many cultural barriers that, because the technology was there to produce this change that I'm going to talk about of flexible working. Cultural barriers have fell down, and now we see that everything is possible in the world. So we are, for us, as an architect, I've been working like 30 years on this. For me, it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity of designing a more flexible working model, where work, as I said, is treated as an activity and not a place. And I think it's one of the things that is really a win-win situation, because it's good for the companies, and it's going to be good for having the people happier, the people more connected to the company, and also for the people which can reduce their commuting, or they can have flexibilized their commuting, so they can increase the quality of life. They can increase the work-life balance, and this could have quite a big impact into the social, because of the capability of being more with our families, with our kids in the morning or in the evenings, because we can do better work-life balance. And also in the planet, we've seen the planet impact that can have this flexible model onto the planet, because of the reducing of the commuting and reducing of the emissions. We've seen in many big cities during the pandemic and the lockdown how the sky was really blue and not gray. We have used to see it. So if you think that from in the past, and since I was working on my company and we were working, really the work was organized in our lives. All our life is organized around this 9 to 5. We wake up, we have to be at 9 in our work, we have to send the kids to the school, and everything was organized around the work. And this has been from decades, since the Industrial Revolution, There's really a timetable that is marked by the work we have. And now it's, and in space, things have not changed too much, because we see these first industrial offices in the 30s, or we see this just before COVID offices. It was almost the same. No, they are really like fabrics, no, like places where you produce in a desk, in a workstation. And also, this last photograph is a very is the Norman Foster's London office. So really, it's not a too much traditional, but we'll see that things in space has not changed too much from the past until a few years ago or before the COVID. Everything, all the design has been about workstations. So the workstation, if it is a cubicle, if it's open, if it's closed, if it's private, if it's not private, if it's a bench in the most modern last installations. But all the design these 30 years, and still like this in most of the companies, is about workstations, about how many people I have, how many workstations I need, which is the size of the workstation, how open it is, and so on. No? This is the dialogue, and this was the main issues of the design corporate spaces. No? And in the most latest time, it was about workstations, but non-assigned workstations that people were sharing. So, but at the end was all focused on these workstations with some additional spaces to complement the use in the last days, the use of the assigned workstation. So really, at the end, we were creating like chicken farms, no? We were creating like big open spaces, big open places where we can reduce to a minimum normally, in some cases, because of the pressure of the real estate costs, to minimum distances, minimum workstations, trying to get the most amount of people possible into a surface, no? So all the legislation around this was about ergonomics, minimum distance, minimum space, taking care of that we have enough fresh air and things like that. No? Now, the new normal is about people. Why is about people? Because the value of the companies is the people. No, so people, and this is something that it happened before the pandemic. No, the companies were more and more from the talent and the human resources departments were more and more taking care of the people, because the people is the value of the company at the end. The value is created by the people. We want to attract talent. We try to retain the talent, to keep the talent. So new normal is not so normal, no? And it's about people, really about people, and also planet, no? Which we are seeing these solar panels and all the initiatives that American Free Zone is doing about that, no? But this also now is a must, no? So I'm really happy that words like triple balance issues, so we impact into people, impact into the society, and impact into the planet, now is on the table, and how through the new ways of working, through the new way of or the new model of working and the new designing of the space, we can really, architects and developers like FAC can participate and can have an input on this triple bottom impact. No? In this situation, after my conversation with many companies, because we are based in 15 countries and working in 25 around the world, my company, designing workspaces with companies, some of the companies that are also in the FC set, like Bayer or like Amazon, Google, things like that. And all the companies more or less are going into a flexible model of 50-50, more or less. That means more or less 2-3 days remote, 2-3 days presence at the office. There is a lot of impact into, as I said, because you design it around the people-centered design, about wellness and about quality of life. So certifications like WELL or like LEED are being a must, are really being a must. It's not more like an extra thing, no? It's going to be something like a must for any space, any corporate space, no? So we are getting into a model at 50-50. You don't have to talk about home office or office work, because there is a third space in the middle, which is all the different areas where you can do some work. That could be the garden, could be a cafe area, could be any place, no? So this is the tendency clear is going to be that 50-50, and with a lot of impact in the wellness and the quality of life. At the end, this flexibility, because I don't want to talk about telework. Telework is different, and all the normatives that have appeared in many countries, like Spain, Argentina, or Peru, or UK, it's about teleworking. Okay, so these normatives that you have to place an office, an area where people can work from home, no? This is when you are talking about teleworking, and teleworking is a different thing of flexible working. Teleworking means that you send the people home, no? You really decide that this workstation where the people is going to do his work is at home. Flexibility is another issue. Flexibility is the model that is going to be implemented. Flexibility is about choice. People can have the choice, can decide to go to the office that day, to don't go to the office. We are all different. So really, the only way is flexibility, and the only way is choice, because some people would still like to go to the office and to stay in a normal workstation and to work from there because of their personal situation or personal preferences. And also, other people will prefer to stay more remote, and others will mix both things. No? So we have to understand the difference between the different people we have, the different type of people we have, and it's not only about not only about generations. It's about that we are all different, that we are all have different needs and different issues, no? To prefer one thing or to prefer another thing. So, and also it's about responsibility, because we have seen during this pandemic that people have been very responsible. Many companies have seen that the people have worked more hours. Of course, we were in a pandemic situation, and we're really in a way that we don't have the only thing we have to do is really to work. No other possibility to do that working. But this is the new ways of working is flexibility. It's not about defining Monday, Tuesdays you work from home, or making legislation about that. It's about conversations, it's about choice, it's about flexibility, and it's about conversations because we work inside an organization, inside a group. So we have to really agree this flexibility, agree this freedom, no, with the rest of our groups. No? So we have to rethink with this model of flexibility that probably people will not go to the office to sit in a desk in our workstations, to do things that can do probably in the remote way. We have to rethink, and this is something that is not the same for all the companies. Each company has to define its model. Every company, every group inside the company has to define the model of working, how much flexibility they're going to have, how much time agreements they are going to have in working together, in collaborate. Of course, we have been very productive in our houses during the lockdown, but we need the contact with the people. This is something that many companies have, that many people have missed, and they want to recover. So at the end, we have to rethink 100% about the purpose of with my colleagues, a place where can I see everybody in a time, a place where we can create culture around. Normally it's like coffee areas, like places where people join together, not necessary to talk about work, to really socialize and be part of a team. A place to learn. Learn happen when you are close to, normally better when you are close to somebody else with a different experiences. Of course, places to meet, personally meet. These Teams or Zoom meetings are okay for some meetings, but meeting personally has other advantages. And of course, place to collaborate, no? Although we can collaborate, of course, in a remote way. Okay, so really we have to rethink completely from scratch, from a white paper, no, what we are going to do with the office, what is going to be the purpose, and why I need an office, what I need a headquarters. Before that was very easy, because before that was really, I have 100 people, I need 100 desks, I need 100 meeting rooms, and that's all. No, so designing was like very obvious, no, and now it's not so obvious, because in some flexible situation, you have to make the people to wake up, dress, and go to the office, commute to the office, and they have to have a good reason for that. Okay, so is very, lots of things are going to change, not necessarily because you probably are hearing around that the number of square meters will be reduced because less people will go to the office. So if I have 100 desks, I'm going to have now 50 instead of 100, and that's not necessary. In some, I know some clients where we are expanding and we are creating more space for them that they have in the past, and others, yes, others have reduced, but because of the use is completely different than the use we had before, all focus in the workstation. Is very early and we are in a very early stages to really be able to say, okay, you are going to reduce or you're not going to reduce. Depends of the use of the space, no, and what you are wanting to, the purpose of this space and why you want this office, central office, no. And although this is obvious, and this new ways of working, flexible working, is a win-win situation, and is the way that all companies will go, will wear some of them in the past and will go in the future, in this new era. We have been working in another way since many, many years. So really, we have to change our mindset onto this, to understand, to learn how to work on flexibility. We have to learn in non-assigned workspaces how to deal with non-assigned workspaces. And we have to deal also and to understand how to use the different typologies of the spaces. And that's all what I was wanting to tell today. And that was about how things are going to change in the next future. Now, all the companies are really focused onto trying to go out from here. Yes. Most of the companies are now focused onto the onto thinking about the model, and after defining the model, which has been happening in these years, and mainly the human resources and talent people are working or thinking about which model they are going to do. Finally, the model is going to be, as I said, 50-50 is what we are seeing. And 2022, 2023 will be implemented into space, and will be also after this reflection or after this thinking in each of the companies, no, then they will decide why I need an office, what's the purpose, what I need to cover, and will be also in a better way, because really we have to try solutions and see how these solutions are working. And sometimes we'll think that a space is good for a use that we all have think that is interesting, and at the end probably is not working like that. So architects have the responsibility to don't design and then left the company, left you with the space and come after 8 years or 10 years. That's what has happened in the past. We have to stay there. We have to be facility managers, real estate guys have to be measuring continually how the space is working, how many people is going, which spaces they are using more, which spaces they are not using more. And I'm going to answer some of the questions that I have here. One of Pablo is saying, how prepared are the companies to continue facing the challenges of the pandemic? Well, okay. One thing is the pandemic situation, no, which are still in some countries we have where we don't have the vaccine too much extended, and there's still a challenge to come back to the office, come back in groups with social distance, with these type of things, no? And this is something that in some of the places we still like that, but this is something that we will disappear in the next months. Most of the companies are thinking in coming back in a normal way through the next 2022. And then we will coming back to a new situation where was, as I said before, probably in a new model with less workstations and more social spaces. No? I have another question here. What is the most difficult change to make when adapting to the new normal? On the infrastructure level, well, on the infrastructure level, I think it's very easy. Okay, so we are specialized in the infrastructure level, and it's very easy because the space most of the companies have is valid. You have all the infrastructure of cabling, infrastructure of air conditioning, infrastructure of lighting, all the infrastructure. And really, what you have to do basically is to rethink about the use of the space, what you really need, what is going to happen if people starting to do flexible working, starting to do some remote work and some presentiality work. No? So if you are going to have, instead of 70, 80% of the people before the pandemic that you have in the office at the time, you are going to reduce to 40, 50 occupancy. You are going to have less people, okay, less workstations occupied, and you are going to have probably the need of more social collaborative spaces. So the initial changes on the space have to be very careful, because in space and infrastructures are expensive and investments are high. And what we recommend and what we are doing for many clients is trying to do some mock-ups, trying and changing, probably taking out workstations. It's like doing some chirurgical exercises, taking out some workstations and changing onto more collaborative social areas. No? So this is the things that companies are initially doing, and measuring what's happening with that. No? I have here another question which says, thank you for your presentation. How can business centers or free zones benefit from the new normal? Okay, I think there is a lot of responsibility in this new model for the business centers and for the free zones. Is that people want to have I don't know if you have heard the city of the 15 minutes. I have had several conversations with the American Free Zone of how business centers, which are mainly business centers in the past, no, they have to turn into like small cities where they have probably some residential solutions, some hospitality solutions, some commercial areas, some complementary areas to the tenants. No? The tenants would like to have spaces with complementing their working spaces. That is important also for the business centers to have some services like a big auditorium, some services like a big meeting rooms, some areas like big things, or very specialized areas or specialized spaces that occupiers in the floors don't need to have in their own space, and they can share with others. No, so I think it's a good time to talk with your partner. I know we are collaborating with American Free Zone on that, so we can create these conversations in 3 bands, no, with yourselves, American Free Zone, and ourselves, and talk about each of the situations, no, because as in the past, the corporate spaces were designed very similar, and if you go to different companies, different offices are all very similar. Probably the only difference between one and another is the colors, or one is more modern in design than other. But conceptuality, the concept was the same, was workstations, meeting rooms, and closed offices, or not closed offices, no? But the open spaces. This was like we say it in Spain, bread for everybody, no? It's the same for everybody, no? Now it's more particular for each of the companies and of the cultures, and also the purpose, what they want to reinforce. Some companies want people to attract the people coming to the office, and they keep people coming to the office. Others, for them, they are not so important that, so they are leaving more flexibility and don't leaving more the people working remotely. So that is very special and very different from one company to another. We are in a very nice opportunity, and also the architects, real estate, facility managers of the companies, human resources responsibles, and also the tenants. We are all in a unique situation because people are open for change. We have embraced the technology. We have seen that the work is an activity and can be done from anywhere at any time. So we can change our lives, really. Our lives can change with a big impact from the company to our employees. If we change into a flexible model, we're going to positive impact with our employees. And then we have the issue of the space that we can optimize. We can have perhaps spaces that we didn't have the space to have it. And now, because of the flexibility, we are able to have spaces that we were wishing to have. And because of that the offices were full of workstations like a chicken farm, no? We were not able to have several spaces. And now we have this possibility. So I think it's a nice opportunity. The work has to be done first from the talent and the human resources. The company has to really define a basic strategy of how flexible is going to be the model. Even if it's going to be flexible, if I wanted people to attract more the people to the office or not. And having all this information, then we have to think into spaces. My recommendation, as I said is before at the beginning, is doing small actuations or small refurnish in some areas, like mock-ups, like prototypes, and see how it works. No, probably half of a floor, an area where we create different places, taking out some workstations, and from that start transforming the spaces. And I think I don't have more questions. So for me, it has been a pleasure and having had the opportunity to talk about this, which is my passion as an architect. 3G Office, my company, has also an office and is based in San Jose. We were working in the American Free Zone. We have done all the Bayer offices, for example. And thank you, Jose, Natalia, and all the team of American Free Zone for the invitation. And see you soon. Bye-bye.
Boasting natural wealth, economic stability, and the professional quality of its people, Costa Rica is the ideal country to do business. This is the place where our business park is located, AFZ. More than 20 companies related to the technology and shared service industries have trust AFZ, generating employment for about 10,000 people, value chains, and contributing to the growth of our country. With a history of over 2 decades in the real estate market, our business park guarantees the best experience for clients and employees. Our 91-acre property has the potential to expand our development to triple its size. We use cutting-edge technology that ensures the continuity of operations and an offer of flexible spaces that can be customized to suit every need. Our customers and visitors can enjoy an array of amenities that have been carefully designed to create a convivial environment that contributes to retaining talent and maximizing the time and resources of those who are part of our business park. Aiming towards a sustainable future, we make sure that the development of our activity goes along triple impact actions at the economic, social, and environmental levels. These advantages have awarded us prizes and certifications that recognize our efforts. It's time to keep growing. Let's do it together. We are AFC.